Welcome to Ask Klein Math. We're going to be looking at a 7th grade skills 7.7a representing linear relationships using verbal descriptions and taking those verbal descriptions to a graph today. Something that's important to remember is what this form that it's supposed to simplify to, y equals mx plus b, represents. This is the equation for a line. We need to remember what all of the different variables stand for, which will help us into determining which graph is going to be the correct graph for our relationship. So if we remember, B is our y-intercept, M is our rate of change, so our change in y over our change in x, and our x and our y would be points along that line that make that equation true. So let's take a look at this problem. Which graph best represents a line where each value of y is 3 more than 1/2 the value of x? So they've given us a verbal expression here, y is 3 more than 1/2 x. So if we were to write that, y is equal to 3 more. So if it's more than half of x, we're going to be adding 3. And if we are doing the value, half the value of x, we would say half of x. And we want 3 more, so we have 3 more here. So y equals 1/2 x plus 3. And we just talked about what these different things represented. B being our y-intercept. So my y-intercept is 3, and my rate of change is going to be 1/2. So there's some things I can do to rule out some of these graphs very quickly. Here, my slope is telling me it's 1/2. So that's a positive slope. Remember, positive means that as x is increasing, y is increasing. Well, looking at this, as x is increasing, y increases. So that's a positive slope. In B, we've got a positive slope. In C, a positive slope. But D, as x increases, my y is getting smaller. So this is a negative slope, which means I can rule that one out. So I also know that my y-intercept is 3. So looking here at my graphs, this has a y-intercept of 0. So I can say that this is not going to be one of my answer choices that is reasonable. So we've ruled out A and D. So now we need to figure out the difference between B and C. And we had M, our rate of change, was 1/2. And B, our y-intercept, was 3. So my rate of change is 1/3. And if we talk about rate of change, it's the change in y over the change in x. So our change in y is going up by 1 and right 2. So if we start on a nice even point that hits the grid right at integer values, so I've got one here at -3, and -2, -1. So we could say change in y needs to go up 1 and then to the right 2. Up 1, right 2. Does this fit? No, it does not work. But let's check this other one. Here I have a nice point at -4, 1. So I go up 1, right 2. Up 1, right 2, up 1, right 2. So my change in y was increasing by 1, and my change in x was increasing by 2. So therefore, C is my correct answer.